happens, they will walk away. Let's talk about this and much more with Illinois Congressman Adam Kinzinger, also a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee. Always good to see you, Congressman.
You too. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank God. So are you shaking in your boots? Is all lost now that North Korea is saying, we won't be put in a corner, we'd walk away first?
No, I think they're probably doing a little bluster right now, trying to show his domestic population that he's still in control. And, you know, but it also is, it's concerning to this perspective. This is the old pattern of North Korea, where they, on the one hand, come out smiling with some unicorns that they give to South Korea, and then the next day it's like, okay, you know, we're gonna fight back and do all this kind of stuff. So I'm not losing sleep over this issue, but it does. The only reason it concerns me is it just shows that North Korea is back to their old pattern of kind of give and take and angry and happy, and you know that's always concerning because of what they've done in the past.
You know, Jane Harman was just on. I don't know if you were listening to her.
She's great.
Yeah, you know,
I wasn't, but I like her.
She was in Congress in California for a long time. She's at the Wilson Center now. You know, she's got a lot of expertise in this area. She does have concerns that the chance of getting the best deal the U.S. could get in North Korea is receding, not because of what North Korea is saying right now, but in terms of the approach of how many allies, how many people are involved, how many different points of pressure. Do you share those concerns?
Well, I'd have to hear more kind of her thesis on why, and unfortunately I didn't get to see her prior, but no, I think we're on the track. I think the reality is this. We're at a moment, and I hate to be so stark, but it's true. We're at a moment where we're either going to get a really good deal, a verifiable, non-nuclearized North Korea for infinity, or I think it makes war more likely, which is why I actually think a deal is going to happen, because I think both sides realize it and neither side want it. So there's a lot of leverage being put on right now. There's a lot of points of pressure. And I think Kim Jong-un, I've got to imagine, I don't know this from any sourcing, so please understand that, but I've got to imagine that first time Kim Jong-un got summoned over to China, there were some harsh words about, hey, it's time that this is over. Let's move on, and maybe that's why we're in this new phase.
So help us understand a little bit what the eventuality is. And again, as stark as it is, and I know that you're not saying you want it. I mean, you know, you're one of the representatives who put your life on the line for the freedoms of the rest of us. You know the sacrifice better than anyone. But, you know, that reminds me of what Bolton was saying. The Libya model is what we're looking at here. Very provocative. North Korea, by all indications, didn't like it. Because what does the Libya model mean? Give us what we're asking for first before you get anything, or big bombs are coming your way and you will no longer exist, Kim Jong-un. Is that the right message?
Well, I look at the Libya model as don't mistreat your people or eventually they're going to stab you in the back of a pickup truck unceremoniously. And so I think, you know, as some people try to put together the issue of nuclear weapons and American involvement against them, the reality is I think even if Gaddafi had developed nuclear weapons, his people would have still risen up against him. Could the West have intervened? Maybe, maybe not. But I think that's the reality of it. With North Korea, look, the reality is this. There's going to be some carrots given to North Korea, and I think in the form of there will be economic assistance, or in the form of, you know, we, in essence, have a security guarantee like we did with Cuba, something along that lines. We're not interested in invading North Korea, and maybe China holds that security blanket. But I think a long-term non-nuclearized North Korea is essential. And my concern is if this doesn't happen, we're at that Churchill kind of moment where we're looking forward and saying, do we want a country where anybody can get, a world where anybody can get nukes, or do we need to stand strong now?
Well, look, it's tough, though, right? Because if you're going to do that in North Korea, yes, they have more munitions, but then you have Iran. You have Pakistan, which already has nukes. The United States is hedging back on aid to Pakistan because it's not dealing with terror groups well, but that only creates more financial pressure on them to do something with their nukes and maybe ship one to somebody else like Saudi Arabia. So this gets very complex. So we need friends. China is a friend with quotes around it when it comes to this. Do you believe that the need for Chinese involvement that is sympathetic to the American initiatives here is the reason why we're seeing this otherwise surprising softening from the president on Chinese telecom ZTE?
Yeah, I certainly hope not. I think, you know, we need to have a relationship with China, obviously, on the long term. We need to have a relationship with China when it comes to North Korea. But we also have to understand China's an adversary, and I think long term they're actually our biggest adversary. And whether that's economic or military, the concern with ZTE Telecom is not some it's not really economic mismanagement as all these other Chinese companies have done. It's actually an espionage issue, and we'd have to be in a different format to get into some more details. So I was actually pretty concerned and a little blown away when the president made his statement about it, and I hope that there's more clarification to come, because we have got to stand up against this Chinese espionage.
Two provocative things to unpack. One, you can't be a little blown away. He says that he did this because too many jobs were lost. What happened to America first? What happened to bringing those jobs back here and punishing China for violating our intellectual property and other activities that you call espionage? What happened to that?
Well, look, I think there's no doubt the president's done a lot for America first and American jobs. Just look at the economy. I don't understand that statement, though, and there's a lot I've appreciated that he's done on foreign policy, which I think has been really good. I think there needs to be some clarification on exactly why this is happening. And I don't think it's a quid pro quo with China and North Korea, but I think there's some issue there that we need to unpack. And you know, maybe that's just the president wants to have a great relationship with the president of China, which is good. We need that. But I think we also have to stand up against our IP theft and espionage and, of course, those kinds of issues.
So we'll see why this was done. We're still waiting for an explanation as well. You said something else. I'm out of time. You have to come back, because people will be surprised to hear that China, in your view, could be the biggest, not just economic, but military adversary for the United States going into the future. You need to unpack that for us. We'll make another date. Thank you.